Japan is a land of rich culture, majestic mountains, crazy neon lights, world-class food, and fascinating history. A country where the national drink, saake, is drunk hot or cold, where incense floats around temples and shrines, and technological progress is taking the world by storm. With a mix of age-old traditions and groundbreaking progress, Japan is undoubtedly one of the most fascinating countries in Asia. From the neon lights of vibrant Tokyo to ancient temples perched on snow-capped mountain peaks, Japan is a feast for the senses. Get to know the many facets of this extraordinary country on a round trip. With so many Japan sights to see, it can be difficult to pick the best for your trip. Here are our top 15 places in Japan not to be missed on a tour of the Land of Smiles. If you like this video, please support our channel with a like, comment or subscription. Thank you. Tokyo is the capital of Japan, but Kyoto is the capital in the heart of the Japanese. After all, the city was the seat of the Tenno, the Japanese emperor, for over 1,000 years and is still the cultural and historical center of the country, and not only for that reason. The old imperial city with its 1.5 million inhabitants is located 450 kilometers southwest of Tokyo and only 40 kilometers north of Osaka on the island of Honshu. It is surrounded on three sides by mountain ranges. The fascinating history and culture of Japan are omnipresent in Kyoto. In the narrow streets of Gion you will meet geishas in traditional kimonos. In the tea houses you will be initiated into the secrets of the traditional tea ceremony. And everywhere you will come across Zen temples, Shinto shrines and Buddhist pagodas that it is hard to decide what to look at first. Himeji Castle is recognized as both a Japanese national treasure and a World Heritage Site. You must see this castle, which is one of the 12 original castles of Japan and has survived the 4 centuries without significant damage from wars, earthquakes or fire. It is the finest surviving example of Japanese castle construction and consists of 83 buildings. Due to its distinctive white plaster, the castle is also known as White Heron Castle. Over 1,000 cherry trees grow on the castle grounds. The trees outside the castle can be viewed for free, but if you want to admire the blossoms on the inside grounds, you will have to pay the entrance fee to the castle. Although the castle is most beautiful to look at during the sakura season, it naturally attracts the most visitors during this time. Koken is a large Japanese garden located next to Himeji Castle. It is divided into 9 separate walled gardens designed in different styles of the Edo period. The gardens were opened in 1992 to celebrate the centenary of the city of Himeji. They were laid out on the former site of the residence of the Lord of Himeji Castle. Deep in the mountains of the Japanese Alps in northwestern Japan, the small villages of Shirakawa-go and Gokayama were almost completely cut off from the outside world for a long time. The reason for this was the difficult-to-access mountainous landscape, through which there was no passage in winter due to meter-high snowfalls. Even until the beginning of the 21st century, the villages, which are only 10 kilometers apart, were isolated for up to 6 months in winter. Earlier, in the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, people survived in the densely forested Haida highlands by cultivating buckwheat, millet, and mulberry trees, which was done mainly on the nearby Shogawa River, and by breeding silkworms. Their dwellings bear witness to how residents at that time perfectly adapted to the difficult weather conditions. They are built in the so-called Gasho Zukuri style, which roughly translates as style of praying hands. The origin of this term lies in Buddhism, in which Gasho describes a gesture of greeting in which the palms of the hands are brought together with the fingertips facing upward in front of the chest. Masaoka Shiki, the father of modern haiku, called the city his beloved hometown. Experience Matsuyama through Shiki's eyes and visit the Shiki Museum. Even if you're on a tight schedule, try to catch a glimpse of the beautiful haiku stones around town, or get creative yourself and place your own haiku in one of the many haiku mailboxes in Matsuyama. On a hill overlooking the city is Matsuyama Castle. It is one of the few original castles in Japan and allows for a wealth of unique cultural experiences, such as the opportunity to play taiko drums and don the armor of a samurai. The castle offers sweeping views of the city and is especially beautiful during cherry blossom season. Another important Japanese experience is bathing in the Dogo Onsen, a hot spring bath with a 3,000-year history that has hosted crowned heads. The Dogo area is a wonderful place to stroll. Nearby Dogo Park is home to the ruined Yuzuki Castle, and Japanese outdoor art can be found throughout the area. Takayama, a small town in the valley with its old wooden houses, craft stores and saake breweries, has retained the charm of times gone by. Often compared to Kyoto, the town is a destination that opens the door to the Japanese Alps. Crossed by the rushing waters of the Miyajima River and surrounded by protective peaks, Takayama is an ancient fortified town located in a valley in Gifu Prefecture. It is the capital of the ancient province of Hida, hence its other name, Hida Takayama. This name means high mountain. It is also called the Little Kyoto of the Japanese Alps because its streets are laid out in a checkerboard pattern, following the example of the former imperial capital. Hida Takayama was built in 1585 by the feudal lord Kanemori by order of the great daimyo Toyotomi Hideyoshi. The carpenters of this province were renowned for their skill. Their skills can be found in the most beautiful Buddhist buildings and mansions built in the capital cities of Nara and Kyoto. Takayama Jinya, the former residence of the governor of the province, gives an idea of the wealth of the place. The landmark of Kamakura is the 11-meter-high bronze statue of Amida Buddha from the 13th century in the Kotoku-in temple. Initially, it was housed in a huge wooden hall. However, after the temple was destroyed several times by floods and earthquakes, the elements finally won out. Nowadays, this second-largest seated Buddha in Japan is the most popular site in Kamakura. The Tsurugaoka Hakumangu is the heart of Kamakura, around which the city developed. It was founded in 1180 by Minamoto no Yoritomo, the father of the Kamakura shogunate and the city, and is now a must-see for visitors. There are almost constant events at the shrine, festivals, weddings or exhibitions. The shrine is famous for its spring and autumn festivals, during which archery exercises are demonstrated from horseback. It houses a number of national treasures and features beautiful ponds and gardens. The main entrance to the shrine is usually lined with candy stands. The walkway from Kamakura Station runs along a magnificent tree-lined entrance with numerous torii. In the southwest of Kanagawa Prefecture in Fuji Hakone National Park, lies the city of Hakone. Both inside and outside Japan, the recreation area is known for its numerous first-class hot springs, called onsen in Japanese, with 20 different types of spring water and for the breathtaking views of Mount Fuji. Not far from the Tokyo metropolitan area, between Mount Fuji and the Izu Peninsula, the recreation area around Hakone invites you to keep discovering new things in nature. With its mountainous landscape and beautiful location on Lake Ashi, the region around the city is one of the most charming landscapes in Japan and is definitely worth a stop on your trip to Japan. The Hakone resort area includes a total of 7 hot spring resorts where you can bathe in one of the hot springs. This ritual is a centuries-old tradition in Japan, which means that visiting a traditional onsen comes with some rules and its own bathing etiquette. Nabana no Sato Flower Park is an impressive sight in all 4 seasons. Winter is particularly impressive, with numerous light installations throughout the park. The park lighting in winter, from mid-October to early May, draws large crowds to the park. However, the garden is impressive all year round. In the flower area, you'll find cherry and plum blossoms, which are common in Japan, as well as roses, azaleas and more. Each garden has its own theme. The indoor begonia garden displays an abundance of colorful flowers and features a cozy cafe. There you can take a break amidst the lively surroundings. If you want to get a comprehensive view, visit the observatory. Seating and snacks are offered here. For a more unusual experience, visit Fuji Island, an observation deck located 45 meters up on a leaning tower. Here you can enjoy an impressive panoramic view for an additional fee. The city of Kanazawa on Japan's west coast is also becoming more and more popular, with tourists planning their trip to Japan. One of the 3 most famous Japanese landscape gardens and original preserved historical quarters attract, as well as a visit to the Ninja Temple. Kanazawa has been connected to the Shinkansen network for several years and can be reached from Tokyo in just 2.5 hours. Even arriving at the station, with its large red gate reminiscent of a shrine torii, a traditional Japanese gate, is spectacular. With a population of nearly 500,000, the city of Kanazawa is one of the largest in the Hokuriku region. Situated directly on the Sea of Japan on one side and the Japanese Alps on the other, this major city is best known for its rich history and traditional crafts such as lacquer and ceramic art. Kanazawa translates as Gold River or Gold Swamp. This name supposedly comes from the legend of a man who was digging for potatoes and struck gold. Gold is a recurring motif, as 99% of gold leaf in Japan is produced in Kanazawa, which is naturally reflected in the cityscape. With its 3,776 meters, Mount Fuji is the highest peak in Japan. It is the result of volcanic activity that began about 100,000 years ago. Today, Mount Fuji and its surroundings are a popular destination for hiking, camping and relaxing. As one of the country's most recognizable symbols, it attracts travelers from all over the world to take a look at this impressive mountain. For Japanese, on the other hand, Mount Fuji has long been a place of great spiritual significance and a source of artistic inspiration. Between 200,000 to 300,000 people climb Mount Fuji every year in summer. Climbing the peak is very popular at sunrise. Hikers often begin their ascent the day before and spend the night in a mountain hut. Then they continue their trek in the early morning hours to see the sunrise on the horizon. The numerous shrines at the foot of the mountain are testimony to Fuji's spiritual and historical significance. From Kyoto and Osaka, Nara is only about 1 hour away, making it perfect for a day trip. But actually one day is not enough for the visit. Because there is really much to see and experience here. Because of its large number of temples and shrines, Nara is one of the most popular tourist attractions. In the Nara period from 710 to 784, it was the capital of Japan. Most of the historical buildings date from this period. After the capital was moved to Kyoto, Nara lost its importance, but it still held on to power through its Buddhist temples and Shinto shrines. It is also known for the Nara Park with its sika deer and the large Buddha statue Daibutsu. Osaka presents itself as a megacity with about 2.7 million inhabitants in the heart of Japan. The port city is the 3rd largest city in the country after Tokyo and its sister city Yokohama. Together with Kobe and Kyoto, Osaka forms a region with more than 17 million inhabitants, making it one of the largest metropolitan areas in the world. No wonder life is bustling here and there is plenty to see and do. Nevertheless, the atmosphere is somewhat different from Tokyo. In addition to being an important commercial center due to its port, Osaka is also known as the belly of Japan thanks to its diverse cuisine. It is also home to one of the largest aquariums in the world open to the public, has a colorful theme park and numerous sites that will bring you closer to ancient Japan. This wild mix makes every vacation a varied pleasure. Miyajima is a small Japanese island in Hiroshima Bay. The floating torii has made Miyajima world famous through numerous pictures in magazines and documentaries. At high tide, the shrine appears to float on the water. But even at low tide, it is a real sight to see, and you can walk to it across the dry seabed. Its Tsukushima Shrine is one of the most photographed places in Japan. The Japanese island itself was once considered so sacred that it was fenced off from its Tsukushima Shrine so that no one could contaminate the sacred ground. That is why the entrance to the shrine, a large red wooden gate, stands offshore. Its Tsukushima Shrine and the floating torii are registered as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. There are several other Japanese shrines and Japanese temples on the island. Daishoin Temple on Mount Misin, the highest point on the island, is surrounded by maple trees, which provide an especially gorgeous backdrop of bright red in the fall. A cable car leads up to Mount Misin, from where there is a magnificent view of the island and the entire Hiroshima Bay. Nikko is a small town north of Tokyo, bordered by the Nikko National Park. It is home to one of the most lavishly ornamented shrine complexes in Japan, Toshoga Shrine. The complex, which blends harmoniously with the natural surroundings of the surrounding mountains, winds its way up the forested slopes. With each successive level reached, the buildings become more spectacular. At the very top, as the highest peak, sits the mausoleum of Tokugawa Ieyasu, founder of the Tokugawa shogunate, which ruled Japan for over 2 centuries beginning in the 17th century and presided over a period of unity, peace and cultural flourishing. The site is particularly beautiful in autumn and winter, when there are fewer tourists and the meditative radiance of this mystical place can work particularly well. As one of the most exciting cities in the world, the Japanese capital Tokyo is a guarantee for an exciting and varied trip. With almost 14 million inhabitants and a history stretching back almost 600 years, Tokyo has undoubtedly established itself as a world metropolis. Due to the high population density on an area of 628 square kilometers, the Japanese capital is famous for its mighty skyscrapers, at the feet of which traditional Japanese houses seem to crouch. This clash of tradition and modernity is evident throughout Tokyo, where the centuries-old imperial palace stands next to the futuristic Sky Tree Tower. But Tokyo, and Japan in general, is also famous for its subcultures. This is evident in the lively gamer district of Akihabara, women in gorgeous kimonos at the cherry blossoms in Ueno Park, and the opaque hustle and bustle of businessmen at the world-famous intersection in the business district of Shibuya.